The Xylari Empire had never lost a war. That was not a boast. It was a fact. For over 2,000 years, the Xylari had conquered every species they encountered. They did it with patience, with logic, with planning. They spent decades studying each new enemy before firing a single shot. They learned every weakness, every fear, every mistake. Then they attacked, and they won. Supreme Commander Vexa was the greatest strategist of his generation. His mind worked like a computer. He felt no fear, no excitement, no doubt. He was perfect for the job. 100 years ago, he had pointed at a small blue planet in an unimportant part of the galaxy. "Earth," he said. "We will take it." His scientists got to work. For 100 years, they watched. They listened. They analyzed. They studied human history, human biology, human psychology. They watched human wars and human politics. They learned everything. Or so they thought. The Xylari never sent spies to Earth. They considered it unnecessary. Their long-range scanners were very old, but very powerful. They could see everything from space. The problem was that the scanners could not tell the difference between reality and entertainment. The scientists watched human television. They saw shows where men in colorful costumes pretended to fight each other. They recorded it as ritual combat. They saw shows where people screamed at each other over food and money. They recorded it as political leadership selection. They saw a show where a human woman threw a chair at another human woman over a man neither of them knew. The scientists wrote a 20-page report on human mating rituals. They had no idea any of it was fake. After 100 years, the scientists gave their final report to Commander Vexa. "Humans are emotional," they said. "They panic easily. They fight each other constantly. They have no unity. Their leaders are chosen based on who screams loudest. Their strongest warriors wear shiny costumes and pretend to hurt each other. They are weak, disorganized." "Perfect." Vexa nodded. "Begin the invasion." The fleet was massive. 500 ships. 50,000 soldiers. The best weapons in the galaxy. They dropped out of hyperspace above New York City on a Tuesday afternoon. The sky turned dark. The ships blocked the sun. The ground shook. Vexa stood on the bridge of his flagship. He looked down at the tiny blue planet. He felt nothing. That was normal for a Xylari. He pressed a button. His face appeared on every screen on Earth. Every phone. Every television. Every billboard. "People of Earth," he said. His voice was cold. Flat. "This is Supreme Commander Vexa of the Xylari Empire. Your planet is now under our control. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. You have 10 minutes. He released the button. The transmission ended. Vexa waited for panic. That was what weak species did. They screamed. They ran. They cried. Then they surrendered. He waited. Nothing happened. On the ground, a teenage girl named Mia looked up at the alien ships. She was 17 years old. She had pink hair and a nose ring. She was eating a bag of chips. She watched the sky turn dark. She watched the ships hover. She heard the scary message. Then she yawned. Mia pulled out her phone. She opened her Livestream app. She pointed the camera at the sky. She typed a caption. "LOL, aliens are here. Anyone else bored?" She hit start. Within 30 seconds, 5,000 people were watching. Within 2 minutes, 100,000. Within 5 minutes, 1 million. The comments exploded. "Fake. Nice CGI. Is this a prank? Tell them to bring pizza. I'm literally at work. Can they wait?" Mia read the comments and laughed. She took another bite of her chips. Up in the ship, Vexa watched the screens. He saw no panic. No screaming. No running. He saw a teenage girl eating chips and yawning. He turned to his science officer. "Explain." The science officer looked confused. The data said they would panic. Then why are they not panicking? The science officer had no answer. On the ground, Mia's livestream had reached 10 million viewers. Someone had already made a meme of Vexa's face with the words "surrender or be destroyed" changed to "surrender or I'll cry." Someone else had added clown music to his speech. Mia looked up at the giant alien ship. She smiled. "Hey, space dude," she said into her phone. "My mom says you have to leave before dinner. We're having meatloaf." 10 million people laughed. Up on the bridge, Vexa felt something strange. Something he had never felt before. It was confusion. And underneath the confusion, something worse. A tiny, growing fear that maybe, just maybe, they had studied the wrong planet. Commander Vexa decided to land. The humans were not surrendering. They were not panicking. They were making memes. This was not in the plan. Vexa needed to see them face to face. He needed to understand. He took his elite guard, 12 of the best soldiers in the fleet. They climbed into a glowing battle cruiser and descended toward the surface. They landed in Times Square. Vexa stepped out. His armor was black and silver. His face was hidden behind a cold metal mask. Behind him, 12 soldiers fanned out with weapons raised. He expected screaming. He expected running. He expected trembling humans falling to their knees. Instead, a tourist asked him to take a photo. "Hey, blue dude. Smile." Click. Flash. The tourist ran off. A man in a red and blue costume walked up to Vexa. The costume had a spider on the chest. The man pointed at Vexa's mask. "Nice cosplay. Where did you get it?" Vexa stared. "I am the Supreme Commander of the Xylari Empire." "Cool, cool," said the Spider-Man. "Hey, do you know how to get to 42nd Street? I'm lost." Vexa did not answer. He pushed past the man and walked deeper into the crowd. People took pictures. People waved. One person asked for his autograph. No one was afraid. Vexa found a human wearing a uniform. A police officer. The officer looked tired. "I demand to speak to the leader of Earth," Vexa said. The officer pointed down the street. "Government building. 3 blocks that way. Can't miss it." Vexa marched. His guards followed. They found the building. It was gray. Ugly. A long line of humans stood outside. Vexa walked to the front. He pushed open the door. He was inside a DMV. A bored woman behind a counter looked up at him. She had gray hair and glasses on a chain. She did not blink. "Take a number," she said. She pointed at a small machine. Vexa did not move. "Number," she repeated. "Take it. Then sit. We'll call you." Vexa took a number. It said 247. The screen above the counter said now serving, 142. He sat down. He waited. His elite guards stood behind him, holding weapons, looking very confused. 105 numbers later, Vexa stood up. He walked out of the DMV. He had learned nothing except that human government moved very slowly. Outside, a delivery driver walked past the alien guards. He was a young man with a red hat and a thermal bag. He walked right up to Vexa. "Pepperoni pizza," the driver said. He held out a flat cardboard box. "Someone ordered this?" "No." "Hey." "Well, keep it. Free. You look hungry." He handed Vexa the box. Then he walked away whistling. Vexa opened the box. Inside was a round, flat thing. It was warm. It smelled like bread and cheese and meat. He had never seen pizza before. He did not know what it was. His training told him never to accept food from an enemy. His instincts told him this was a biological weapon. He handed the box to a guard. "Scan it for toxins." The guard scanned. "No toxins, Commander. It is bread. With cheese. And meat." Vexa was very confused. He walked further. He needed a real official. Someone with power. He found a small building with a sign that said Pax Department. He walked inside. An old woman sat behind a wooden desk. She had white hair and pink cheeks. She wore a flowered dress and comfortable shoes. Her name tag said Mrs. Kowalski. She looked up at Vexa. She did not scream. She did not run. She smiled. "Oh, hello dear," she said. "Are you lost? The botanical garden is 2 blocks that way. Or did you want a map of the pack?" Vexa stood frozen. "I am here to conquer your planet." Mrs. Kowalski laughed. "Oh, you're funny. Are you one of those street performers? Very nice costume. Would you like a cookie? I just baked them." She held out a plate of cookies. Chocolate chip. Vexa looked at the cookies. He looked at Mrs. Kowalski. He looked at his elite guards. No one knew what to do. He had studied human weakness for 100 years. He had planned for every possible outcome. But no plan had included a grandmother with cookies and a map to the botanical garden. Vexa felt something break inside him. Not his body. His mind. The logic. The order. The plan. It was all falling apart. He pointed at Mrs. Kowalski. "Fire a warning shot," he ordered. "Over her head. Show them we are serious." A guard raised his weapon. He aimed at the ceiling. He fired. The shot missed the ceiling. It hit a fire hydrant outside the window. The hydrant exploded. Water shot into the air like a geyser. It sprayed the window. The floor. Mrs. Kowalski's desk. The old woman stood up. Her flowered dress was wet. Her cookies were ruined. Her face turned red. She walked right up to Vexa. She pointed a finger at his chest. She was half his height. She was not afraid. You, she said, made a mess. Look at this floor. Look at my cookies. Look at my dress. Vexa stepped back. No, she said. No excuses. You clean it up. Right now. Do you hear me? Vexa looked at his guards. The guards looked at the floor. No one moved. Mrs. Kowalski crossed her arms. Well, I'm waiting. For the first time in his life, Supreme Commander Vexa did not know what to do. He had conquered 12 planets. He had destroyed 3 civilizations. He had never been told to clean up a mess by an old woman in a wet dress. And somewhere behind him, one of his elite guards laughed. Just a little. Vexa pretended not to hear. The internet did not panic. The internet made memes. Within 10 minutes of the invasion, the first meme appeared. It was a picture of Vexa's face with the words, I traveled 500 light years to get a parking ticket. 5 million shares. The second meme showed Mrs. Kowalski pointing her finger. The caption read, Earth's final defense, a grandma with cookies. 10 million shares. The third meme compared Vexa to an angry blueberry. Someone edited his helmet to look like a fruit. The caption said, Invasion? More like smoothie ingredients. By the end of the first hour, there were over 50,000 memes. The internet had never been so united. Aliens, it turned out, were very funny when they tried to be scary. Then came the video. Someone had recorded Mrs. Kowalski scolding Vexa. The whole thing. The wet dress. The broken hydrant. The pointing finger. The alien commander stepping backward like a scolded dog. The video went up at 3:47 p.m. By 3:50 p.m., it had 1 million views. By 4 p.m., 10 million. By 6 p.m., 500 million. Someone added funny music. A piano played circus tunes every time Vexa stepped back. Someone else added cartoon sound effects. A boing when the hydrant exploded. A squeak when Mrs. Kowalski pointed her finger. A third person turned the whole thing into a dance remix. They called it the Grandma Beat. It played in clubs within 24 hours. Up in the flagship, Vexa watched it all. His face was hidden behind his mask. But his hands were shaking. What is this? He asked. His tech officer, a young Xylari named Trix, looked uncomfortable. Commander, these are called memes. They are a form of human communication. They are making fun of us. Yes, Commander. Vexa was quiet for a long time. Then he said, translate them. I want to know what they are saying. Trix ran the memes through the translation software. The results appeared on the screen. You are a funny blue vegetable. Your helmet makes you look like a toilet. Go home, blueberry. Your mom is calling. Earth's defense system, cookies and disappointment. Vexa read each one. His face did not change, but something inside him changed. A small crack in his perfect, logical mind. Am I a blueberry? He asked. Trix did not answer. The memes spread to the rest of the fleet. Soldiers watched them on their personal screens. Some tried not to react. Others could not help themselves. A young soldier named Jex saw a meme of his commander with clown hair. He laughed. Just a small laugh. A quick breath out of his nose. But laughter was forbidden in Xylari culture. Emotions were forbidden. Xylari soldiers were supposed to be cold. Logical. Perfect. Jex looked around. No one had heard him. He looked back at the meme. He laughed again. Louder this time. Across the ship, other soldiers were doing the same. A laugh here. A smile there. A snort from a soldier who saw a cat video that someone had accidentally shared. The cat video was the breaking point. A small orange cat fell off a couch. It tried to look dignified afterward. The video had no music. No words. Just a cat being stupid. A Xylari soldier named Vor watched it 17 times. On the 17th time, he laughed so hard he fell out of his chair. His commander saw him. Vor, you are laughing. Laughter is forbidden. Vor could not stop. But Commander. The cat! It fell off the couch. There is no humor in a falling cat. Vor laughed harder. Tears came out of his eyes. He had never cried before. He did not know what was happening. Other soldiers gathered around. They watched the cat video. They started laughing too. Soon, an entire section of the ship was laughing at a cat falling off a couch. The ship's commander tried to punish them. He gave orders. He made threats. No one listened. They were too busy watching the cat fall again and again. A mutiny almost started. Not over food or pay or politics. Over a cat video. Vexa received the reports. His soldiers were laughing. His officers were losing control. His invasion was becoming a joke. Then the message came. The Xylari Council. The leaders of his entire species. Their faces appeared on his screen. They did not look happy. "Commander Vexa," said the head counselor. "We have seen the memes." Vexa straightened his back. "Counselors, I can explain." "You are a galactic clown," the counselor interrupted. "Every species in the galaxy is laughing at us. Not because we lost. Because we tried to invade a planet that fights with cookies and cat videos." "I can still win," Vexa said. "Give me more time." "There is no time. Retreat immediately." Vexa stood still. His hands stopped shaking. His face went cold. "No," he said. The counselor blinked. "No. I have spent 100 years planning this invasion. I will not run from a grandmother and a falling cat. I will win. Or I will die trying." He cut the connection. The counselors stared at the blank screen. No one had ever refused their orders before. On Earth, the memes kept coming. And Vexa, the great commander, the genius strategist, the conqueror of 12 worlds, began to plan his next move. He still believed he could win. He was wrong. He just did not know it yet. Vexa still had one card to play. The Xylari did not become the greatest conquerors in the galaxy by accident. They had weapons. Real weapons. And the best one was called the Fear Projector. It was a massive device, built into the flagship's hull. It could scan the mind of every enemy on a planet and project their deepest fear directly into their thoughts. No shields could block it. No armor could stop it. Every species the Xylari had ever faced had broken within minutes. They screamed. They ran. They surrendered. Vexa had hoped not to use it on Earth. The humans were already confused and disorganized. But now, after the memes and the grandmother and the cat video, he had no choice. "Activate the Fear Projector," he ordered. "Target New York City. Full power." The device hummed to life. It scanned millions of human minds in seconds. It searched for their deepest fears. The things that kept them awake at night. The things that made them scream. Then the device got confused. Human fears, it turned out, were very strange. The device found a man who was terrified of public speaking. Not of death. Not of pain. Of standing in front of a crowd and saying words. It found a woman who was afraid of clowns. Not real clowns. Just the idea of clowns. She had never even met a clown. It found a teenager who was afraid of his phone battery dropping below 10%. He carried a charger everywhere. He had nightmares about a dead screen. It found a grandmother who was afraid of being late to bingo night. Not of the alien invasion. Not of death. Of missing bingo. The Fear Projector tried to process all of this. It had been built to handle simple fears. Death. Darkness. Predators. Not public speaking. Not clowns. Not phone batteries. It tried anyway. Across New York City, millions of humans saw strange things. A businessman looked up and saw a giant spider. The spider was wearing a tie and holding a PowerPoint presentation. The man screamed. Not because of the spider. Because of the PowerPoint. A young woman saw her mother-in-law standing in front of her. The mother-in-law was holding a microphone and singing karaoke. The woman ran away crying. A teenager saw his phone. The battery was at 1%. He watched it drop to 0. He fell to his knees. "No," he shouted. A teacher saw a room full of students. The students were not listening. They were on their phones. The teacher started crying. An old man saw a clown. The clown was also a spider. The spider clown was also late for bingo. The old man just sat down and gave up. The Fear Projector tried to show every fear at once. It pulled images from millions of minds and threw them into the air. The sky filled with floating nightmares. Spiders in business suits. Clowns with microphone stands. Dead phone batteries. Endless traffic jams. Forgotten birthdays. Public singing. It was chaos. Pure, beautiful chaos. But no one was surrendering. People were screaming. Crying. Running. But not from the aliens. From the weird images in their heads. And after a few seconds, most of them just got confused. "Wait," said the businessman. "Why is the spider wearing a tie?" "That's not scary," said the teenager. "That's just Tuesday." "I've seen scarier things at my job," said the teacher. The Fear Projector tried harder. It pulled more fears. Deeper fears. Older fears. It found a woman who was afraid of being forgotten. The device showed her an empty room. She shrugged. I like empty rooms. It found a man who was afraid of heights. The device showed him a tall building. He worked on the 40th floor. I take the elevator, he said. It found a child who was afraid of the dark. The device showed him a dark room. The child turned on a flashlight. Fixed it, he said. The fear projector could not win. Human fears were not logical. They were not consistent. They were not even that scary. The device overheated. It had been built to handle simple minds. Logical minds. Xylari minds. Human minds were not logical. They were messy. Random. Chaotic. The fear projector tried to process one more fear. A man who was afraid of stepping on a crack in the sidewalk. The device could not understand. It tried anyway. It tried too hard. The device exploded. The explosion was massive. It tore through the flagship's hull. A shockwave of energy blasted outward. It hit every Xylari ship in the fleet. Power systems failed. Engines died. Shields dropped. Half the fleet went dark. Ships started falling from the sky. Not crashing, just dropping, floating down like leaves. One by one, they landed in the ocean, in the parks, in the streets. No one was hurt. The ships were built well. But they were also completely useless. On the ground, humans watched the ships fall. They pointed. They laughed. A man held up a sign he had made in 5 minutes. It said, "Thanks for the light show." Someone else started a slow clap. Others joined. Soon, the whole city was clapping and cheering. Vexa stood on the bridge of his crippled flagship. His fleet was scattered. His weapon was destroyed. His soldiers were laughing at cat videos. He looked down at the humans. They were cheering. They were laughing. They were holding up signs. He finally understood. Humans were not weak. They were not strong either. They were something else. Something the Xylari had never seen before. They were chaos. And chaos could not be conquered. You could not plan for it. You could not predict it. You could only survive it. Vexa sat down in his command chair. He put his head in his hands. For the first time in his life, Supreme Commander Vexa did not know what to do. Below him, a teenager live-streamed the falling ships. Her caption read, "Aliens are dropping faster than my grades LOL." 10 million people watched. And somewhere in the crowd, Mrs. Kowalski found a dry cookie and took a bite. She looked up at the broken alien fleet and smiled. "Boys," she said, "always making a mess." Vexa did not surrender. He could not. He was a Xylari commander. Surrender was not in his blood. But he also could not win. His fleet was broken. His weapon was destroyed. His soldiers were laughing at cat videos. The humans were cheering and holding up signs. So Vexa did the only thing he could do. He opened a channel to Earth. "I need to speak to someone in charge," he said. A human woman appeared on his screen. She had bright red hair and glasses. Her name tag said Janet, PR consultant. "Hi there," she said. "I heard you need help." Vexa stared. "I am the Supreme Commander of a Xylari invasion fleet." "Awesome. And you want to leave without looking stupid, right?" Vexa was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Yes." Janet smiled. "I can help. But it will cost you." "Cost me what?" Janet held up a small device. "Sign here. It's a contract. You give us access to your faster-than-light technology. In exchange, I make you look cool on the way out." Vexa signed. He did not read the fine print. That was his second mistake. His first mistake was invading Earth. The retreat was planned for dawn. Human air traffic control guided the Xylari fleet out of the atmosphere. A calm voice came over the radio. "Xylari fleet, you are cleared for departure. Follow the green lights. Maintain speed. And next time, call ahead. We have procedures." Vexa followed the green lights. His broken fleet limped behind him. As they left the atmosphere, a human television station played music. It was the song from the dance remix. The grandma beat. Vexa closed his eyes. He just wanted to go home. On the ground, Mrs. Kowalski walked to the landing site. The alien ships were gone. But the fire hydrant was still broken. Water still sprayed everywhere. She looked down. A piece of paper lay on the ground. It was crumpled and wet. She picked it up. It was a parking ticket. She had written it yesterday. The alien ship had been parked illegally in a no-stopping zone. Mrs. Kowalski found some tape. She walked to a lamppost. She taped the ticket to the post. Then she went home to bake more cookies. The invasion ended. But on Earth, it never really ended. The first Alien Day was celebrated exactly 1 year later. People ate pizza. They made memes. They dressed up as Vexa and Mrs. Kowalski. They scolded each other gently and offered cookies to strangers. The pizza delivery driver became a national hero. His name was Carlos. He gave interviews. He wrote a book. The book was called I Gave a Pizza to an Alien and All I Got Was This Lousy T-Shirt. It sold millions of copies. Carlos never paid for pizza again. Every restaurant in the city gave him free food. He got married. He named his first child Pepperoni. His wife said no. They named the dog Pepperoni instead. In space, Vexa returned home in disgrace. He was demoted. He lost his command. He was assigned to a small office in the basement of the Xylari military headquarters. His job was to file old reports. But Vexa did not file reports. He studied humans. He watched their movies, read their books, learned their memes. After 3 years, he wrote a book. It was called Why We Lost, A Study in Chaos. It was 800 pages long. It had pictures of cat memes. The book became a bestseller across the galaxy. Every species read it. Every military commander studied it. The main lesson was simple: never invade Earth. You will leave confused, hungry for pizza, and forever afraid of grandmothers. 1 year after the invasion, a different alien species watched Earth from afar. Their name was the Krillak. They were bigger than the Xylari. Smarter, meaner. Their commander, a massive warrior named General Thrax, studied Earth for weeks. He watched the memes, the chaos, the grandmothers, the pizza. He saw a video of Mrs. Kowalski scolding Vexa. He watched it 17 times. Then he turned to his crew. "Nope," he said. "But General." "Nope," he repeated. "We are not going there. I am not being turned into a meme. I am not being yelled at by an old woman with cookies. We will find another planet. One without cat videos." The Krillak fleet turned around and flew away. Earth remained safe. Not because it was strong. Not because it had powerful weapons. Not because it had brilliant generals. Earth remained safe because it was too weird to conquer. On a quiet street in New York City, Mrs. Kowalski sat on her porch. She drank tea. She fed cookies to her dog, Pepperoni. A news report played on a small TV. "Alien threats have decreased by 99% since the invasion," the reporter said. "Military experts credit Earth's new defense strategy." Mrs. Kowalski took a sip of tea. She did not know anything about defense strategies. She just knew that cookies fixed most problems. And when cookies did not work, a loud voice usually did. She looked up at the sky. Clear blue. No alien ships. "Good," she said. "They finally learned." She went inside to bake another batch. Epilogue. A black screen. White letters. One by one. Humanity's greatest weapon was never a bomb or a shield. It was a grandmother with cookies and a very loud voice. And a pizza delivery driver named Carlos. And a cat falling off a couch. And the ability to turn anything, even an alien invasion, into a meme. "Do not test us. We will laugh at you. And then we will offer you a snack."